Hey, how's it going, guys? I just got this 1975 XLH Ironhead Sportster pretty much wrapped up. Made a couple videos on it, went through, had to fix a few things. In the last video I had the primary cover off where I found some of the transmission trap door bolts were loose, so ended up pulling the clutch basket, everything. I did have to tap one of the trap door bolts, but the threads on the other four were good, so buttoned that up inside the clutch basket. This backing plate here, you can see where these studs, they'll come loose. Somebody had already welded them back into place, but not exactly straight, and as you can see, a couple of them were wobbly or bent funny, so went ahead and replaced that along with the spacers that go on here. I replaced those, and on these, not all of them, but some of them I see they have, it's a little larger on this end here. That end goes out. These ones on here, you can see they're kind of boogered up, a little bent, mushroomed. They had like a few going the right way, a few going the wrong way, back and forth. So replaced all those. There's another little junk pile of stuff I pulled off. On the starter solenoid itself, there's a spacer that goes right here when it mounts onto the housing. Well, this is what they had in there, just a chunk of let me see if I can get my shadow out of the way. There we go. Somebody just made a chunk of aluminum, which was quite a bit thicker than the original one. So replaced that, put the correct one in there, along with the solenoid and everything. The fuel petcock, you can see, was leaking a little bit. Also with the plastic filter, so put a new petcock on it, new glass filter, new fuel line. I put the Dynatech electronic ignition on it. I have a lot of people ask me what kind I use, and it's the 70 to 99. That would be for like an Ironhead, shovel, Evo, dual fire setup. So got the electronic ignition on there, threw a newer points cover on it. I replaced the rocker shaft O-rings on these four here. Replaced the nuts, put new spark plugs in it, and then I had to re-gap it. Say you got a magneto, you gap your plugs at about 20 thousandths, points 30 thousandths, then if you put electronic ignition on it, 40 thousandths. So I had to put new plugs in it and re-gapped them to 40 thousandths. Primary cover, I stripped that down. It was all black. I don't know if I really showed it much in the last video, but the bottom bolt here had been repaired inside. I've seen a lot of times people torque these quarter 20 bolts down too tight, and then it's just going into aluminum and breaks the inner housing. So that one had been repaired, and it looked good, and tightened it up. When I put the cover on, filled it up, weeped a little bit of oil from here, so I pulled the bolt out, let all the oil weep down out of the way, and then squirted just a little bit of RTV in there, tightened it up. And then while I had that out, since there's a gap from here all the way to down here, and this wasn't tight anymore, it started leaking a little bit out of there. So primary cover is leaking a little bit. It had a repair on the inside, had some JB weld in there where these foot pegs bounce up and then it'll crack the inside, but that was sealed good, so didn't mess with it. I'd like to find another primary, then when I pull it all off, make sure I address that good. Also the clutch cable thread, that was stripped out, which I see a lot of them. People, you know, just double nut it. I tried running a helicoil in there and just didn't quite work right. So this isn't the right one. This is too big, but I used one of these little inserts. So I drilled out the hole here in the cover, tapped it, ran this in, and this is a steel sleeve instead of aluminum, so shouldn't have the problem with it stripping out anymore. But I plan to replace the cover anyway. So well, it had this little generic toe peg on it. I went ahead and pulled that off, put the Harley Davidson one on there. Looks a little better. Does have working turn signals, brake lights, headlights, everything. Cleaned the car by putting new intake gaskets on it. And it's a good runner. I'll quit blabbing and go ahead and fire it up for you guys. Turn the enrichener on. Turn the fuel on. Got fuel in the fuel filter. Now this ignition on the other side is just like a car's, where you just turn it over, headlights on, and you turn it a little further and it cranks over. Then give it a squirt. Runs good, it's got real good compression. See if I can turn that enrichener off all the way and give it a little gas. Still not quite warmed up. Need to adjust the carb a little bit, but actually get out and ride it. I haven't rode it since I've done everything to it, so. Chugs along pretty good. Got the turn signals here. Running light. High beam. Low beam. I got it running a little rich. Probably need to back the accelerator pump down. But there it is. Pretty good running bike. Need to adjust the carb on it a little bit. Still a little smoky, but it's going to be for sale, or it is for sale. I'll keep tinkering around with little stuff on it until it sells, but if anybody's interested, leave a comment below and we'll make contact. I'm just north of Dayton, Ohio in Inglewood. So there you go, guys. You need any parts, I'll put a link in the description below. And let me know, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. So thanks for watching, guys.